Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy that's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of Helltober, my celebration for horror and Halloween in the month of October. You know, as a kid, there were a lot of movies that I wanted to see that I just wasn't allowed to. You see, during the 80s where horror was like at its final peak and all, a lot of the movies were coming out of the woodworks, and most of them I couldn't watch because I was either just born or age 9 at the time. And, let's be honest, horror movies, kids should be watching a lot of horror movies. And, however, when we get a little bit older, we're able to actually go out on our own and watch these movies ourselves. Our parents can't tell us what to watch and what not to watch and everything, and we have a little bit more freedom to make our choices. But even at that, there are still some movies that you kind of not think about for a very, very long time. And you happen to stumble across them by accident. And you're like, you know what? I want to watch this a long time ago as a kid. And I finally get able to watch this movie. And that's a subject with our final review of Helltober, 1988's Night of the Demons. So, the 1988 version of Night of the Demons is about a group of high school kids who are celebrating Halloween night, and they decide to go to a party that is being thrown by the class outcast Angela in a place called Hull Home, where Hull Home is actually an abandoned funeral parlor known for, basically a murder and a suicide that took place. Well, while during the party, the kids actually do a seance, and within doing the seance, they inadvertently awaken a demonic spirit that is possessing and killing all the teenagers, and basically everyone is trying to survive Halloween night in the Hull house. Now, Night of the Demons is one of those movies that basically is easily overlooked, unjustly so, but at the same time, well, I can't say it's unjust because this movie is a mixed bag, alright? With as much good it has in it, there's a lot of bad things in it, So, I'm going to try to focus a little bit more and explain some of the good parts, right? But note, when I explain the good parts, I'll have to follow up with some of the bad parts. For example, so first and foremost, the characters in this movie are pretty cliched and stereotypical. And let's be honest, this is the 80s, so with horror, slasher, or splatter movies, which I consider this more of a splatter movie, though it's on the edge of it could easily be considered a horror movie, but I usually categorize this as a splatter movie. And with this movie, we have characters that we really like and characters that we can't stand. With our protagonist, we have basically Judy. Now, while she can't come across as one of those prudy popular girls by saying that she doesn't want to go to the party with Angela because she's a weirdo, she is a pretty good-natured person and everything. And I'm surprised that when I saw this, I was like, wait a minute. The person that plays Judy is actually Callie Ewing. I can't believe this. Callie Ewing from Dallas. JR's second wife. I'm like, what? Yo, whomever that actress's agent was, big ups on him, because he took her from basically average run-of-the-mill at the time horror movie to the most popular drama in the 80s. So big ups to the actress's name, the actress that played Judy. Big ups to her and her agent. A surprising likable character is also Judy's ex-boyfriend Sal and everything. Sal starts off like a jerk and all, but then, as the movie progresses, he becomes one of the more logical and rational people and everything. And we can't forget the show stealer herself, Angela. Angela is by far the best character in the whole movie, and you could see why she is the face of the franchise. She is fun, she is a little quirky, but she is also a little, like, really evil and tempting and seductive and charming and everything, you know. So basically, Angela, show stealer of the whole movie. I can see why she's the face of this series. But then we got the bad characters. We got, you know, Scream Queen, Lena Quigley and everything. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I love this woman. You know, when you're talking about hot chicks from the 80s, you gotta talk about Lena Quigley. Especially if you're talking about 80s horror movies, gotta mention her. But her character is very one-note, one-sided and everything, and, you know, not as interesting. Who's a big annoyance is Stooge. Oh, good God, have mercy. This is like one of those, like, fat, overweight bullying types that's a real douchebag, which, you know, hey, you know, I don't give a shit about you. You know, if you die, it's better for the movie. You know, so, yeah. But who's a disappointing character is Raj, the token black guy in this movie. Now, like Sal, Raj is the other person that made a lot of sense, you know, because as a minority, you know, as African American, when there are supernatural forces around, we try not to mess with it. And Raj himself was acted upon that to the T, but the guy was a bit of a bitch, you know. I could understand being afraid, but the guy would just run off at the drop of a dime. He would leave people behind to die, to cover his skin, and when the lead female was trying to be proactive, the dude would just cower in the corner, leaving other people to do the work for them. So, Raj was a little bitch in this movie. But enough of the characters, because that took up most of the review. Let's talk about the fear elements. This movie had a decent amount of fear elements. Like, you know, it didn't overdo the jump scares, which was awesome. And, you know, and it set a tone. But the thing is, it got a little boring, you know. This movie took a long time to build up. So I can understand slowly building upon the fear elements, but yeah, this movie starts getting rolling in the last 30 minutes and everything. And the killers themselves are not really that impressive, you know. They're just like when people get possessed or people start dying, you know, it's like, meh, you know. But this movie does have some interesting scenes in it. For example, Angela doing her dance and everything and transferring. That dance was awesome. Gotta give props to that. And as well as the one scene that is in everyone's mind, the one scene that everyone remembers from this movie is the lipstick scene. And wow, like my new segment, that scene was random. You know, you just can't take that scene out of your mind and everything. It's not that it's overtly gross or anything. It's just like, okay, like, why is this scene in this movie? It's kind of freaky, but at the same time, it's like, you just can't unsee the lipstick scene. And I implore you, if you watch this movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. And for some reason, you just can't get that scene out of your mind. Another great thing about this movie is the makeup. Oh, good Lord. The makeup of the demons are excellent. Now, do they stand up today? Not really, but they're good for the time and everything. You know, it's not like their makeup effects are like, you know, so terrible that it's like so outdated, but it's like manageable and like, you know, it holds up and everything. But the problem is only some of the people that are demons have decent makeup. The other people, they walk around looking like George Romero zombies and everything. You know, like bluish or whitish paint on them. And it's like, dude, like, why do these demons look awesome and these demons don't? You know? And the music of this movie is awesome. It's very 80s and everything, so you get that 80s ambient feel, and you get some of the rock songs and everything, which is awesome. But the problem is, sometimes the music kind of gets in the way. And some of the music that is used doesn't really add to any suspense or fear with it. So this movie itself is a huge mixed bag, but it's tons of freaking fun. I accidentally stumbled upon this last year, and I love this movie. But the problem is, it's very inconsistent. You have good makeup effects, but it's not uniform. You have some decent characters, but half of them are really disposable. The acting in this is atrocious. I know we watch horror, slasher, splatter movies. We don't watch it for the acting, but the acting is really, really bad in this. And the building up the mythology in this movie is pretty good, especially as they go into detail about the difference between a haunted house and a possessed house. A very interesting take, but it's just a lot of horror or ghost stories that most of them don't really add to the plot. So this movie is all over the place. And as much as I love this movie, all I can say is Night of the Demons is alright. Which hurts me because I love the hell out of this movie. And this movie is a lot of fun. Agree? Disagree? Drop me a comment below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or Twitter at TokenDave80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. Now, guys, thank you for following me on Helltober. This is going to be a recurring theme every Halloween. And while Helltober is finished, we are not done with Angela because Angela will be back in the months to follow. But until then, this has been Token Dave, the dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by, and I'll catch you guys later.